I'm almost encouraged, I want to encourage you to go on. I feel like playing some John Philip Sousa music right now. I am such a big fan of our diplomatic corps and these interagency teams that I encounter when I travel, and I just thank all of you again for your service and your families as well. I know you make some sacrifices, and I appreciate it. Ambassador Jacobson, our relationship with Iraq has grown stronger in recent years thanks to increased cooperation with the government. However, there's much work that still needs to be done. Iraq still relies heavily on Iranian energy. Iranian-backed militia groups are still given virtually free rein to attack U.S. service members and diplomats, and they continue to have a long way to go in terms of strong governance. When we met, you described that countering Iranian influence will require a whole-of-government approach within the Iraqi government. If confirmed, how will you lead a similar whole-of-mission approach to this challenge?
Thank you for the question, Senator, and you are correct in that it requires a whole-of-government approach because it's an extremely complex issue. With regards to stemming the Iranian pernicious influence in Iraq, we need to bring all of the tools to bear. With regards to the energy independence, critical. When Prime Minister Soudani was here in April, he committed to having achieved energy independence from Iran by 2030, which is an ambitious goal. They do have a plan, I understand. Our colleague, Assistant Secretary Jeff Pyatt, was recently in Iraq, including both Baghdad and Erbil, to work on further developing that plan. And there has been progress made on that plan. I could go into details on some deals, but I'll just note that this is also an opportunity for the U.S. private sector, particularly to bring their innovation in reducing gas flaring, developing fields. It's really important. I'd also notice on the economic front the important work being done by Treasury to modernize the banking sector in Iraq and getting it connected to the international banking system to reduce the influence that Iran can have on Iraq through the banking. With regards to the security situation—
Could I just interject real quickly?
Yes.
With respect to the oil and gas, our private sector partners, are they already quite active in assisting with that flaring mitigation effort that you referenced?
They're already doing it, and we also hope, there was this $27 billion deal with Total, a French firm, last year to develop Iraq's capacity, and we're hoping to see some significant American content in that eventual project as well, which we did support.
Okay. Ambassador Jacobson, in light of your extensive experience, I'm going to ask you sort of a different question here. We were reminded this week that ISIS remains a threat, not just in Iraq and Syria, but also here, as we saw the arrest of 8 ISIS-affiliated Tajiks in America. Given your background in Tajikistan with Afghanistan and across the region, what perspective will you bring to the coalition to defeat ISIS, or perhaps in how you sell this effort to the Iraqis?
The defeat of terrorism in general also requires a whole-of-government, multi-pronged approach. I did follow the Tajikistan story, having served there. I think when we think about Iraq in particular, we have to think about what attracts people to these terrorist organizations in the first place. The need for economic development, the need for a government that has sufficient ability to provide services to its people so that it reduces the draw of terrorism and also reduces the influence, for example, of the Iran-aligned militia groups, which are active in politics and economics as well as taking shots at us. I should have said I got distracted on the gas and oil, but absolutely, if confirmed, I will continue the policy of using all the tools against those militia groups, including the financial ones and the military ones when appropriate. I think getting to an eventual closure of the Al-Hol camp in Syria is important in this regard. It can be a recruiting ground for terrorism. There are still 19,000 Iraqis at that camp, and We will need, if I'm confirmed, I will work on this as well, both to provide better situation for those in the camp, but also to bring them at a more rapid pace into Iraq for rehabilitation and reintegration.
Ms. Gavito, Libya's political instability continues to be an albatross around the necks of European partners, but a boon to human smugglers and illicit financiers. It's a country with an enormous energy potential, as you've indicated, that's being siphoned off by elites that are likely not keen to see an East-West reunification. You mentioned innovation as a point of emphasis in your opening remarks. The energy is supporting wars by our adversaries. How might you apply innovation or other efforts to seek to change that?
Thank you, Senator. Libyans have been very open with U.S. interlocutors that they desire greater presence by U.S. companies. So I do think that there is great opportunity, whether it is in the areas of energy or security or infrastructure, for U.S. companies, business with the strong corporate governance cultures that they bring with them to make a positive impact on the Libyan economy. We've also seen greater presence by U.S. companies as the security situation in Libya has stabilized. $291 million in U.S. exports to Libya last year, with much more opportunity on the horizon. And so if confirmed, whether as a counter to the efforts by Russia to enmesh Libya in greater regional conflict, or by the PRC, which currently dominates the 4G network with companies like Huawei and ZTE, we do have American businesses that can play a positive role.
Thank you. Chairman?
Senator Ricketts, second round.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Ambassador Jacobson, obviously the United States has invested a lot of blood and treasure in Iraq. 3,400 Americans died during the Iraq War. Since 2003,